Hello everyone, welcome back to episode 3 of our Chat Up in C series. Last time we built the basic user interface. We displayed stuff like the header and the input box, as you can see on the screen right here. So today we'll focus on actually allowing the user to type in a message and actually display the message within the chat area. We'll also begin to separate our code into separate files, because as this project grows it will get really messy and storing all the code in a single file will become hard to maintain. So we'll do that later on. This will allow us to keep our code scalable and maintainable. So let's get started. Alright guys, so let's actually start coding. So within our event loop guys, where we have SDL poll event, SDL has something that you call text input events. So we will write an else if statement right here. We'll say if the event type is equal to SDL text input, then let's just print out our message. So we just do printf you typed event.text.text, and let's see what happens guys. So let's compile our code and then run it. So let's try to type something now guys. Let's see what happens. So we type something and it says you typed whatever. Let's type A, B, C. Let's type hello. And you can see it displays in the console right here. So let's actually store all of that input. So guys, we'll include stdlib, which is our standard library for C, because we'll need to do dynamic memory allocation. So guys, we'll create a buffer. Let's call it message buffer. We'll set it equal to null, and we'll have a size key. Let's call it message buff length. We'll set it equal to 0. Now guys, whenever we receive a character, we will say message buffer equals to realloc using our memory allocation function. Let's just store this in a temporary pointer, because if realloc fails, then we will have memory leaks, or if it fails, then we will probably lose our track of our pointer. So let's say char pointer new pointer equals to realloc the string length of our input text.text, and then first we need to pass in our message buffer. Then we get this length of our string. Let's store our character length. So equals to event.text.text. Then we get our message buffer length plus our character length, and then we allocate that number of bytes onto the heap. We're gonna then say if not new pointer, then that means we failed to allocate memory. So we'll print to the standard error and say error failed to allocate the memory on the heap. And then we'll just break. Otherwise, we'll just say new pointer so our character length, guys, +1, because we'll need to have a null character. Let's also create a variable. Let's call it new length, and it will be equal to our message buffer length plus our character length. And then we can just get the new length, and then we add 1 to that to include our null terminator. Then, guys, we can just say new pointer, new length. We set that null character. And then we can just say str copy new pointer plus or message buffer length. So starting from the previous buffer length, we're gonna copy into that pointer our event.text.text. And then now, guys, yeah, this should work. Right, and we need to increase our buffer length. So we set our message buffer length equals to our new length. So now, guys, here's what we can do now. Once we get our full message, we can just say printf you typed message buffer. And let's see what happens now. So let's compile our code and then run it. So let's type hello. Oh, it says you have typed your you typed no. Oh, that's because, guys, we never assigned our message buffer equal to our new pointer. So we need to say message buffer equals to new pointer. And then we recompile our code and then we run it. So now if we type something, we should see it. Let's type hello world. And there we can see it in our console, guys. Now, let's ensure that we free that message buffer, because we'll have memory leaks. Oh, and also here, guys, I realized I wasn't destroying our header texture, so that could cause memory leaks as well. So let's do SDL destroy texture header texture. And let us recompile our code. And and let's run it. And let's type hello. We can see it in our console printing. World. Hello, everyone. Alright, whatever. Yeah, alright. So you can see we have that basic thing. Let's try to actually let it get displayed within our input box. So in order to do that, guys, we'll create another rectangle, so which will be a canvas that we'll place our message on. So we'll say SDL rect message canvas equal to, no, hold on, let's make it be our input box canvas. So let's make it be SDL rect input box text canvas, and let us initialize all its values to 0. Next, guys, we will do this. We'll say or input box text canvas.x equals to our input box.x, and our input box text canvas.y equals to our input box.y. And next, guys, each time we type something, we'll need to store or change our text canvas width, so, and our height, so that it shows onto the screen properly. So let's do that. So in our event loop, we will say ttf size text. We'll pass in our font, and then we will pass in our message buffer. Then we will pass in our text canvas, so input box text canvas.w for the width, and input box text canvas.height for the width. And then now, guys, we'll need to render that text to the screen as well. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna create a SDL texture. Let's call it message texture. We'll set it equal to null for now. And each time we type something, guys, we will free our, we'll call SDL destroy texture message texture. And then, guys, we'll say SDL underscore surface message surface equals TTF render text blended. We'll pass in our font, we'll pass in our message buffer, and then we'll pass in, let's set our message color. So let's say SDL color, message color. Let's make it be white. So we'll make this our value be 0xff, 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 which is literally 255, but represented in hexadecimal. Then we will pass in our message color. We will then say message texture equals to message equal to SDL underscore create texture from surface. We'll pass in our render. We'll then pass in our message surface. We will also destroy that surface because we don't need it, so we'll call SDL free surface. We'll pass in our message surface. And then now, guys, we need to actually display our texture. So what we'll do, we'll call SDL render copy render. Then we'll pass in our message texture null for the source rectangle, and then the destination rectangle, we'll say ampersand input box text canvas. So now, guys, we also need to ensure that whenever we close our application, that the message gets destroyed. So we'll actually destroy our texture. So we'll say SDL destroy texture, message texture. So let us run our code and see what happens. So if we type something, it says I typed that, but it doesn't show anything for some reason. Oh, that's because I rendering the input box after displaying the text, so it gets blocked up. So let's see what happens, guys. So let's recompile and run our code. If we type hello, you can see we can type in our input box now. Alright. Now that we have done that, let's actually make it so that we can display our message in our chat area whenever we press enter. So like somewhere up here. So let's do that right now. So in order to do that, let's do this. So guys, we'll create another rectangle. Let's call it SDL rect message canvas. We'll initialize it to 0 for now. Wait, we'll set the X to 0. We'll set the Y to 0. No, we'll set the Y equal to the header height plus 10 pixels. And we'll set the X equal to 0. Wait, I modified the wrong thing. Alright, so our message canvas, right? We'll set the X to 0. We'll set our Y to or header height plus 10 pixels. We'll just set the width to 0 and our height to 0. So now that we have done that, we can actually try to display our first message onto the screen. So we'll say if message buffer. Also guys, we should probably check right here too, so we should say if, only if the message texture is not null, then we render it on the screen. And up here, we can say if message buffer, then we get the size of our message buffer. So we say TTF size text, we pass in our font, we pass in our message buffer. We then get the width of our text and store it within our message canvas.width, then the height, store it within our message canvas.height. Then we just say, alright, so once we get the width and the height, what we need to do now is actually display our message. So we'll need to set our message canvas position. We already did that, so all we need to do is just say SDL render copy, and then we just say font, no, not font, or we pass in our renderer, then our message texture, then we copy our message texture onto our message canvas. So let's run our code and let's see what happens. So if we type hello, we can't really see anything. Alright. So this message, that's probably because our message color is white, right? And we're using the same color for our input box text. So let's keep it. So I'm just gonna make it so that the input box has its separate color. So let's do that. Let me close this. So we'll say input box text color is white. And then guys, we can modify this to be input box text color, and then this message surface thing, let's just call it input text surface. And also this message texture, let's just call it input text underscore texture. And we can free our input text surface. Wait, let's just use the same things for now. Later on we'll refactor this out. So let's change this box to our input box text color. Oh, but to render the text. Alright, so here's what we're gonna do for now, guys. We'll just say SDL rect. We'll just set a background for our message canvas. So we'll call SDL underscore set render draw color render. Then we'll say we'll set it equal to color underscore 2 param. Let's create another color. Let's call it message canvas color, and let's make it be black. So we'll just say pass our message canvas color in here. And then guys, we'll display a background for it. So we'll say SDL render draw rect render message canvas, then SDL render fill rect render message canvas. So now that we have done that, we can just recompile our code. Well, it should made a mistake. It should be render fill rect recompile, and then we can run. So if we type hello, we can see our messages right there. Now, here's what we need to do. We don't want our message to just show as we type. We want it so when we press enter, it actually displays something. So let's fix that issue. So here's what we're gonna do. So guys, so our header dot, this is our message canvas. We'll set it equal to our header Y position plus our header height plus 10 pixels. And we'll also, guys, also it should be header.height. This is why when we were looking at our code or up, it wasn't showing up the right position. So hello world, welcome everyone, and you can see it shows. So now let us focus on actually separating our textures from our input box text texture. So let's create a SDL texture for our input box. So we'll say input box we'll say SDL texture input box texture equals SDL equals to null for null. This message texture thing, we'll get rid of that for now. But we will just get our input box text canvas size. And we'll also get rid of this for now. So we'll say input box texture will be equal to our, we'll say TTF render text blended font. We'll pass in our message buffer. We'll then pass in our input box text color. We'll then say, let's render our input box. So we'll say if our input box text, so we'll say if message buffer and SDL render, or if actually input box texture, then SDL render input box underscore texture, input box text canvas, we'll copy that texture to there. And then now guys, oh, actually this returns an SDL surface. So we'll say SDL surface pointer input box text surface equals to TTF render text blended. And then guys, we'll say input box texture equals SDL create texture from surface render input box text surface. Next, now each time we get a new message, we'll free our old input box texture. So we'll call SDL destroy texture input box texture, and then we will reassign that to it. So we'll also ensure that we destroy our texture before our application exits. So we'll say input box SDL destroy input box texture. And then now guys, let's actually focus now on our message texture. So we can say our message surface equals to our SDL surface message surface equals TTF render text blended. We pass in our font, then our message buffer, then our message color. Then we say SDL free surface message surface. Now before freeing our surface, we store that message texture. Wait, let's actually do this within our input loop for now. So we will need to destroy our message surface. No, our message texture before creating another one. So SDL create texture from surface render, and then we just pass in our message surface. Then we can free that message surface. Alright, so this looks good now. And also, wait, we need to free our input box text surface. So now, guys, we've separated our different colors. So let's change our, right now our text color is white for our message, but let's make it so that it is actually, let's make it so it's actually green. So we'll set this to 0. Let's set this to 0. And now, if we recompile our code and run it, let's see what happens. So /main. Let's start typing. We can see we have different colors now. Alright. So now that we have that, let's actually make it so that it only displays the message when the user presses enter. So to do that, we'll create a variable. Let's include std bool. Hash include std bool.h, and we'll say bool display with on enter, let's say enter pressed equal to false. So we'll initialize it to false. Now guys, we'll capture another type of event in SDL. So we'll say else if event.type is equal to SDL key up. And then now we'll say switch event.key.keySim SDL, we'll say case SDL key enter. We'll then break We'll then set our enter press flag to true. Wait, this should be SDL K underscore return for enter, guys. Oh, this should be .sim as well. So once we have done that, guys, all we need to do, so this part is where we actually display our message. So what we need to do, we'll say if the message buffer is not null and we pressed enter. Wait, let's also have another flag. Let's call it display message, and we'll set it equal to false. Alright, before here we'll check if enter pressed, then we will, if enter is pressed and if enter is pressed, then we'll set our display message flag to true. Then we'll say if the message buffer is not equal to null and or display message is equal to true, then we will actually render it to the screen. And also, after we have done that, we'll need to ensure that we set back the enter press flag to false, so it doesn't keep resetting or display message loop every single time. So let us run our code. So if we type hello, well, we can see nothing is being displayed, but when we press enter, we can see hello. We can type something else like world, press enter, and it actually changes. Alright guys, now here's what we're gonna do. Since we can display messages now, we're gonna start organizing our code into separate files so it is scalable and maintainable. So let's start doing that. Now guys, before we actually organize our code into separate files, you guys may notice this. So if I run the application again and I type something, it doesn't display, but when I press enter, even when I don't press enter, it still does that. And that's because we are using the same buffer for the same message. So in order to solve that, we have to separate the buffers, but let's not get into that for right now. Let's just focus mainly on organizing our source files. So let's start cleaning it up. So I'll create another file. Let's call it up.h. Inside of it, let's create a header guard. Let's call it up_h hash define up_h hash indef. Inside of it, we'll create a structure. Let's say type def struct up. we'll say up underscore T. It will contain a SDL window. It will contain, and will also include SDL2/SDL.h. Will also include SDL2/SDL.ttf.h. It will also have the window size, so int wins width and the window height. It will also have event, SDL event. It will also have a SDL render, and then let's just work with this for now. So we will create some functions with prototypes. We'll have a up init function. We'll also have a up create function. And we'll also have a up run function. We'll also have a void up destroy function. So let's see. The create up function will take in a up underscore T pointer to our up, and the run function will take in a up T pointer up. The destroy function, let's call it will take in a up underscore T pointer up, and let's create a up.c file. We'll include our up.h. After we include our up.h, let's just copy these prototypes and actually start coding. So for our init function, it will be responsible for initializing SDL. So let's just copy our initialization logic, and we're just gonna delete that and paste it in here. So it will initialize SDL. And for the create up now, this is where we will create the window and stuff. So let's just copy. Also inside of our structure, we need the quit variable. So we'll create an integer. Let's call it quit. Actually, let's make it a boolean this time. So we'll include the std bool.h library, and then let's just copy this piece of code to create our window and our render, and let's paste it in our up underscore create function. Let's also create a up config.h header file. Let's create a header guard, hash if not defined, up underscore config h, hash define underscore up config underscore h, hash and diff. We'll define a window width, and we'll define a window height, let's say 900 and 600. Alright guys, so now we can just include our up config.h header file. We can replace these win width and win height stuff with our window width and window height macros. Our renderer now is okay. Oh guys, so we need to introduce a few more things to our structure. We'll have a TTF font, which will be our default application font. Let's also have a font size as well. Let's also define a font size. So let's just copy this TTF open function thing and go in our up.c. Alright, so instead of having these SDL window pointer stuff, let's just say up window. We'll just set the member variable of that structure equal to the return value of each one of these functions. So up render, and then we can just pass in our up window. And then for our font as well, we can just say up font. And let's define the font size. So this 36 that we have right here, I'm just gonna copy it, delete it, and then paste this font size into that macro. And I'll just say font size right here. Alright, so now that we have done that, let's see what else we need to do. Oh, also guys, we'll need to implement a input box system. So let's create that input box.h. Alright, let's just focus on our up underscore run logic and our up underscore destroy. So the same thing that we're doing right here, we can literally just copy this, all of this, and then we can just paste it in here. And we'll refactor this. So instead of while not quit right here, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna say while not up quit. We're gonna change this E to ampersand up E, which stands for event. And we'll do the same thing here. Up E, and also right here up E. And also we'll also set our up quit equal to 1. No, we can just change this to true since we have the std bool imported. Right, so the next thing we need to do now is actually get our window size. Let's create a function for that. Let's call it void, make it a void, and let's call it up underscore get window size accepts a up underscore t. So let's create that function. So we'll essentially call SDL underscore get window size up window ampersand up win width ampersand up win height. Alright, so that's our get window size function. So we can replace this with just a clean up underscore get window size, and then we just pass in a reference to our up. The set render draw color, let's just replace it with another function. Let's call it void up set window color. And it will accept a up underscore t up. And we'll call SDL set render draw color, and then we'll just pass in our up render and clear the up renderer. You see, all right. So now, right here, we can just call up underscore set window color. Oh, also it should accept the color, so it should accept the SDL color window color. Alright, so now that we have done that, we can just write up, and then we can just pass in our window color. So let's create a variable in our up config. Let's make it a SDL color window color equals to, let's go back here and see what our window color is. We'll just copy this value, and we can get rid of these stuff up here for now. So here we can just paste or whatever we copied right here. Alright, and now we just need to do this. Yeah, that's all we need to do. Oh, we also need to copy our macro that is used for expanding our SDL colors, which is in our up.h. We'll paste it in there. Alright, and then we can use it. So now that we have done that, let's see what else we need to do. We need to replace or render with our up render. So let's just do Control H in replace code, or Command H if you're on Mac OS, and we'll type parentheses render, and we'll replace it with up render. Let's just press enter, and it will, oh, made a mistake, so let's undo by pressing Control Z. It should be open parentheses up render. So let's press enter, replace, 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 replace. Alright, so we have replaced all of those render instances. Now we need to replace this win color thing. So let's just search for win width. And we'll replace it with up win width. Let's just press enter to replace. Oh, alright. It seems like we replaced everything, so just undo. Alright. So next thing we need to do is replace this font variable. So we'll do Ctrl H again, we'll do parentheses font, we'll replace it with parentheses up font. Press enter, 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 enter. So I've replaced all of that now. Let's see what else we need to do. Let's just focus on our destroy logic now. So this will do stuff like uninitialize SDL and destroy certain memory we have allocated, destroy our render on our window, stuff like that. So let's just copy and paste all of this. So let's replace up render with up render and window with up window, font with up font. Alright, so now that we have done that, let's replace this win height thing. Where it is right here with up win height. Alright, so we've done that now. So let's see what else we need to do. Oh. Now we need to fix these stuff. Let's just comment these stuff out for now. You know, so we can focus on the more important parts. So let's go back here. We have our header and all of it. So our header text. Let's just copy this. And let's just define our header text as a string for now. We could define it also as a macro, but let's just copy some of these stuff and paste it in our up config. Alright, so now that we have done that, let's just copy all of these stuff for now. Right. Let's see what else we need to copy. Our message buffer. Alright, so just paste this in. Alright, so now that we have done that, yeah, these warnings, we can just ignore them, but let's just try to correct them. Let's make these constants. And also, we can just pass these to constants. Constant. Can make this constant as well, I guess. Yeah, we can just ignore these for now. That VS Code gives us, but we'll fix it later on. We just want to have a clean code organization. That's all we should focus on right now. But yeah, let's also copy this and paste it in our destroy logic. So let's define our header texture. So pointer header texture equals to null. And in here, guys, we can just paste this in here. Wait, hold on. We can paste it up at the top here. Just like that. And then we can replace these stuff for now with up render and up font. Alright. So now our code looks more clean. Now this, we need to ensure that we get the size of our header text. So we call TTF size text right here, and passing our up font. Right. So then now, guys, let's try to get everything working now that we have refactored our main. So all we need to do now is say up underscore t, up equals to, and we initialize everything to 0. And then we just need to call up underscore create. We pass in a reference to the up, and then we just call up underscore run ampersand up underscore destroy ampersand up, and then the only thing we need to do now is just to include our up.h. Now look at this now, guys. Look how clean our up.h looks. Now guys, if you notice, every time we were compiling our code, we keep doing the same command over and over. Let's just create a little build script. Let's create one for Windows using batch, using a batch script. So we'll say at echo off. We'll say echo building shut up dot. We'll then say gcc main.c -l minggw32 -l sdl2 main -l sdl2 -l sdl2 underscore ttf -o main. Then we'll say echo running shut up, and we'll say /main. Let's also write a build.sh script for Linux. So we'll say shaban bin /bash. We'll say echo building shut up, echo running shut up, and right here we'll just execute our command gcc main.c -l minggw32 -l sdl2 main -l sdl2 -l sdl2 underscore ttf -o main. Then we'll just type /main. So now that we have those two scripts, guys. Oh, also, because we have moved our code into separate files, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna need to update our build scripts in order to link with our up.c. So we'll type up.c right here, and we'll type up.c right here. So now guys, all we need to do, we don't have to type this long command anymore. We can just type /build.bat, and let's see if it works. Alright, so yeah, we'll get some warnings. That's okay for now. Oh, it's not okay because we're modifying constants. So in order to solve that issue, let's fix that issue. So this shouldn't be a constant. It should be an int. Alright, we have errors now. And our error is initializer element is not constant. Yeah, that's okay. We can just cast these to constants. So for now, we'll fix all of that later on in the series. Let's see what happens. Oh, it should be const int. So let's rerun our build.bat script and see what happens. I will still get those errors. Unknown type name S at line 19. So let's delete that. Let's try to rebuild. Alright, so we still get these errors. So in order to solve that, let's just move this from here for now. And just include it in our app.c script. We'll just paste it in for now. And let's just focus on getting our window to pop up without any errors for now. Let's try to recompile our code by just running our build script. Alright, so we get an error, message buffer undeclared. Okay. Yeah, our message buffer, we can just go in our appconfig.h and we can just paste it in here. So now we can rerun our build.bat script and let's see if we get a window. Alright, so we get a window. But no, let's actually work on the other parts, like getting the user input and stuff like that. So we can uncomment this code for now, and we'll say app event text let's try to recompile. We got an error at line 64. Yeah, this should be app event.text.text. Let's build. Right. So if we type something, it doesn't actually show, but something is happening. Right. For now, So our header texture is not even displaying. So let's fix that. But guys, you can see how our main.c looks clean now, not bloated with so much lines of code anymore. Alright, so let's see what we can do to fix this issue where our header isn't displaying. So let me just close some of these files. Alright, so our header text is right here. For now, let me just see what's going on right here. So we haven't gotten the size of the header text. No wonder why. Before we actually do that. So if we run now, we should see our header text. Still don't see it. Wait, is the header texture being set? Yeah, this is debugging right now, guys. Yeah. Alright, so it's not being rendered. That means the header texture is null. For some reason. Alright, let's see if the surface is being rendered. So we can do that by checking if header text surface, and do a printf, the header text surface is not null. Let's recompile. Oh, so it is null. Did we load the fonts correctly? Is size text failing? If, let's do that, a check. Let's say if is less than 0, because TTF size text returns a negative number on error. So it can say printf failed to get the size of the text. Let's see if that is the issue. Now let's recompile. Failed to get the size of the text. Okay, so that is the issue. Why is that? We set our header text up here. So that shouldn't be the issue. Should it? That shouldn't be it. Nope, that's not it. Yeah, that wouldn't be it. Is our font null? Oh, if not font, printf failed to open font. Oh, I see what's going on, guys. I didn't initialize the functions. No wonder why. I didn't initialize SDL or anything. So that's why it's failing. This is why it's good to, whenever you're developing projects, guys, it is good to have a login system. Because if I was doing this from the start, then I would have figured this out. So let's actually do this. So we'll say if SDL init returns negative error code on failure is less than 0, then if printf std error failed to initialize SDL, we'll do the same thing right here. We'll say if if ttf init is less than 0, if printf std error failed to initialize SDL ttf. And then, guys, in our up underscore create function, we can just call up underscore init. So now, guys, our code should start displaying our stuff on the screen now. Alright, now we can type, we can press enter, and it works. Alright, guys, so now that we have organized our files, we've organized our code into separate files. This will actually be it for today's video. In the next video, we'll be implementing something called a we'll be implementing a message list data structure that will allow us to display multiple messages whenever we press enter on our keyboard. So thank you guys for watching. Hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys for episode number 4.